So this is our crowd because you, better than any other crowd, understand what a fairy tale is. You know them well. You know who is good, and you know who is bad, and you know who's caught in between. You know who to trust and who not to trust, and you know who always wins the day. But we always love watching fairy tales unfold, and we always learn something new by watching those fairy tales or experiencing those fairy tales take place. Some of these fairy tales have been modernized, but in a way, in being modernized, they've been brought back to a kind of ancient form. Because very early on, when the Grimm's brothers were writing their fairy tales in the 1800s, parents of children who were trying to read the fairy tales to their children at night because they were such a beautiful telling of a folk tale that they loved anyway, complained that they were too dark and sometimes even horrifying. So even all the way back then, Grimm's fairy tales were very gritty sometimes, and then also other times very bright. Aesop's fables, you know also very well, those fables that tell stories about the tortoise and the hare, all those little stories. Those were written a very long time ago, about 2,600 years ago, by what was reportedly a little man in ancient Greece who had maybe been a slave at one time. And his fairy tales also reveal the best aspects of human beings through the animals, and also sometimes the very worst. So remember, always be nice to the little gray man and never trust a fox. Enjoy.
And one poor one, whom they called the little peasant. He was so poor, he hadn't even a cow, and even less money to buy one.
And he and his wife did so wish to have one.
One day, he said to her, "I've a thought. There's your cousin, the carpenter. He could make us a cat out of wood and shape it
And plain it.
and paint it brown so it looks like any other.
And in time, it'll surely grow to be a cow."
So, their cousin the carpenter shaped and planed a cat out of wood and painted it brown and made it with its head hanging down as if it were eaten.
Next morning, the cowherd was taking the calves out of the pasture.
Howdy. I'm wondering if you could take this here cat out of the pasture. She's so small, she can't hardly walk by herself, so you'll have to carry her.
All right. Heavy little devil, isn't she? Have no fear, I will watch over her well.
Thank you.
So the cowherd took the calf out to the pasture, set her down in the grass. There you are, you cute little thing. That's right. Just look at you eat. Soon you'll be so big and strong you'll be running around with the rest of the cows. That's right, eat. Relax, you shouldn't be so tense.
Soon night came.
Alright girls, time to go home now. We're going home. You too, baby, we're going home. No pushing, we're all going to the same place. This is what we call dark, and it's time to go home. See, we're going home now. Goodbye. Goodbye. Bye-bye.
The little peasant was waiting for him when he returned. Evening.
Evening.
Hey, where's my cat?
She's out in the pasture eating.
But it's dark out there. Something might have happened to her.
Well, she just wanted to eat.
The two returned to the pasture together.
No, this is terrible.
I must have my beast back.
But I've never lost a beast in my life.
We'll see about that. We're going to see the judge. So, he took him to see the judge. Your Honor, he took my cat out to pasture and left it, and now it's gone.
Well, that's true, Your Honor, but I thought you needed to eat.
You must give the little peasant a cow for the calf which you lost. Justice.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, Louise, you're the one. I don't understand it either.
So, the little peasant and his wife finally had the cow for which they had so long desired. Look, it works!
But they had not enough money to feed her.
So, the cow had to be killed. The little peasant flayed the skin and took it to town to sell, to buy. But as he went, a storm came up. On the side of the road, the little peasant saw a raven with broken wings. So he picked it up and wrapped it in the cowskin to protect it from the weather. In the distance, he saw a farmhouse with a light. Let me in!
Who is it?
A stranger caught in the storm.
I'm sorry, I can't let you in right now. My husband's not at home. Be off with you.
The little peasant hid himself in a corner of the porch, underneath the window. And through the window, he saw the farmer's wife entertaining the parson.
Roast meat, salad,
A bottle of wine.
and sweet cakes.
Oh,
shelter from the storm on your porch. Oh yes, of course, go inside.
Thank heaven you're home.
There is such a storm out there as if the world was coming to an end. Food!
We only have bread and cheese.
Only bread and cheese? Well, I guess bread and cheese. I'm contented with anything.
Yes, have to.
Come and join me. We'll eat, and then we'll drink, and then we'll match wits.
Good.
The little peasant sat down to the table, and the two began to eat together. The little peasant took some food and put it in the cowskin to feed the raven.
You are stuffing my food in your cowskin. Why is that?
I'm feeding the soothsayer that lives in there.
What?
A soothsayer lives in the cowskin.
Oh.
He speaks sooth.
Can he foretell anything?
Yes, but he only says 4 things, and the 5th he keeps to himself.
Well, let him foretell something for once.
As you wish.
The little peasant made the raven croak.
I'm sorry?
He says there is roast meat in the cow stove.
The farmer went to the stove, pushing his wife away, and opened it.
There is roast meat in the tile stove, and it's hot.
The little peasant made the raven croak again.
You'll find salad in the cupboard.
The farmer went to the cupboard and opened it.
Upon my soul, there is salad in the cupboard.
A miracle.
The little peasant made the raven prophesy yet again.
Wine under the pillow.
The farmer went thither and found the wine.
Why?
The little peasant made the raven croak.
What is it?
Sweet cakes under the bed.
Sweet cake's coming up.
By this time, the farmer's wife was a nervous wreck, so she took the keys to her hope chest and went to bed.
What's the 5th then?
Well, we better eat the first 4 things, because the 5th is something bad.
So they
And they bargained to see how much the farmer would pay for the 5th prophecy. Come, come, Sue's is expensive.
$300.
Done.
The little peasant made the raven croak as he walked around the cottage, now and again, until, finally, they got to the hope chest, where the little peasant made the raven croak very loudly.
He says the devil is hiding in your wife's hope chest.
The devil?
Satan himself.
The devil must go out of my wife's chest.
Cast him out then.
He's locked himself in.
Ah, they'll do that. Those devils are sly.
The keys. Where are the keys? Wife?
Yes, husband?
The keys. Give me the keys to your chest.
Keys? What do you need the keys for? You can't have the keys. They're my keys and it's my chest.
The farmer and his wife began to wrestle, until finally the farmer got the keys from his wife.
Fine, take the keys.
The farmer went to the chest and unlocked it. Then he opened it.
Stand back.
The parson got up and fell down in terror. Little peasant and the farmer's wife, pretending terror, and tried to exorcise the devil. The parson ran out of the cottage.
It was true. It was true. I saw the devil with my own eyes, and he looked a lot like our parson.
The next morning, the little peasant made his way back with $300. At home, he launched out, bought himself a new plot of land, and built a brand new house.
Well, looks like the little peasant must have been to a land where it snows gold.
And they carry it home by the shovelfuls.
So he was brought before the judge.
Where he was bidden to tell from whence came this newfound wealth.
I sold my cowskin in town for $300.
When the other peasants heard this, they too wished to share in this incredible profit.
So they all went home
And
Killed their cows.
and took the skins to the marketplace.
Skins for skins here, skins
want $1. No dollars for that.
But the little peasant got 300.
He lied. Look, there he is.
So, he was brought before the judge again.
Where he was accused of
Treachery.
and unanimously condemned to death. He was to be placed into a barrel, pierced full of holes, and then rolled into a river. The villagers withdrew.
With the parson to say the final mass. Oremus, oremus, Dominus vobiscum.
Through a hole in the barrel, the little peasant saw the farmer, who he knew had always wished to be mayor.
I sure wish I could be mayor.
Help! Help! You with the seat! Here! In the barrel!
Upon my soul, what are you doing in that barrel?
They wish to make me the mayor, if I but stay in the barrel. But I don't want to stay in the barrel.
I've always wanted to be mayor.
Well, quickly, get in the barrel!
The little peasant got out of the barrel, and the farmer got in willingly. Then they nailed the lid on.
And the little peasant made off with his seat for himself.
And so the barrel was rolled into the river.
I'm perfectly willing to be your mayor.
So the villagers returned to their home.
But on their way,
They saw
The little peasant!
we threw you in the river.
Yes, yes, I did indeed go to the bottom of the river. And when I got there, I kicked out the bottom of the barrel and got out. And there I saw green rolling hills covered with white sheep. So I took this small flock back for myself.
Are there any more sheep at the bottom of the river?
Oh yes, Your Honor, thousands of them. But I could do nothing with them. They all went to the edge of the river. And as they did, white fluffy clouds appeared in the sky and were reflected in the water.
Down there, look, I see it, right down there.
Wait! Since I'm the judge, it is fitting that I should go first. When I see the sheep, then I will call you to come after me. Hooray!
That was all.
The rich peasants all ran to the edge of the water, and they jumped in together.
So, the entire village drowned. And the little peasant and his wife inherited everything.
The Bremen town musicians. A certain man had an ass, which, for many years, carried sacks of flour to the mill without tiring. At last, however, its strength gave out, and it was no longer of any use for work. So its owner began to ponder as to how best to cut down on the ass's rations, and indeed how to do away with the beast entirely. The ass, sensing mischief in the air, broke from its quarters and ran away on the road to Bremen. There, she thought, I shall become a town musician.
When she had been traveling a short time, she fell in with a hound in the road, panting as though he had just been run off his legs.
What are you panting at, Growler?
Just because I'm so old, and every day I grow weaker all the time. My master wants to kill me.
I'll tell you what, Growler. I myself am on my way to Bremen, there to become a town musician. It occurs to me that you can come along with me. I'll play the guitar, and you can play the bass. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very well then. Let's be off.
So the two began on their journey. After a short while, they came upon a cat who was in the road with a face as long as a wet heat.
Sit! Why are you so unhappy, Whiskers?
Who can be happy when he's out at elbows? I'm getting along in years. My teeth are blunted out. Yeah. I'd rather sit by a nice warm fire and purr rather than chasing around after mice.
Well,
Just for this, my mistress wanted to drown me.
well, sir, I may have a suggestion for you. We two are on our way to Bremen, there to become town musicians. Now, it occurs to me that you're a great hand at serenading.
Thank you.
Yes, so why don't you come along with us and take your part in the music?
All right.
Let's be off.
So the three went off together. After a short time, the hound and a cat began to fight. Just then, a rooster approached them.
You crow so loud you pierce one through and through. Yes, I do, don't I? What is the matter?
What's the matter? Why didn't I prophesy fine weather for Our Lady's Day? Fine weather! Yes, I did, yet notwithstanding this, Sunday visitors are coming tomorrow. My mistress has ordered the cook to make me into soup. Soup! Chicken soup!
There now, Redcoat. I may have a suggestion for you. We three are on our way to Bremen, there to become town musicians. Now, you have a fine voice. And when the four of us make music, there will be equality in it. So, why don't you come along? All right. Very well then, let's be off. But stay in line.
So the four went off together. They could not, however, reach the town in just one day, and by night they came to a wood, where they meant to spend the night.
It's obvious we can't make it to Bremen in one day. Why don't we stay here? So the ass and the hound lay under a tree,
And they all lay down.
While the cock flew up into the top branches. A light! A light! I see a light! Must be a house!
Where there's a house, there's a bone.
And maybe some tuna.
Very well then, let's set out, but be very quiet.
So the four set out in the direction of the light, until they reached a brightly lit robber's den.
Maybe I should peek in the window before I just march in there.
The
Watch out.
ass crept forward and observed three robbers hardly enjoying their meal.
What did you see? What did I see? Why, I saw a table laden with delicious food and drink, and robbers enjoying it. Only that were us. It could be us. I have a plan.
straw.
Dog under the table.
You can't buy the fire.
Oh, the cock. Grew up into the top rafters and extinguished the light.
Soon the robbers return.
You were saps thrown out like that. I hadn't finished eating. One of us has to return.
That's right. You return. I'll wait here for you.
What do you mean? Get in there immediately and report back to me here.
The robber returned through the broken window. Taking the cat's glowing eyes for coals, he struck a match to light them.
But the cat would stand no nonsense. It blew at his face, spat and scratched. He was terribly frightened and ran away. He tried to escape, but the hound jumped up and bit his leg as he ran across the pile of straw in front of him. The ass gave him a good sound kick with his hind legs, while the cock, who had awakened quite fresh and gay at the uproar, cried out from his Thereupon, the robber ran back as fast as he could to his chief.
What happened? In the house, there's a witch who breathed on me and scratched me with her long claws. Under the table stands a little man who stabbed me and a gray-haired devil who hit me with a club. On the roof, there sits a judge who cries, "Bring the rogue here!" So I ran away as fast as I could.
Let's live here. I will never go back there again.
And so, the four Bremen town musicians
We're very happy with their new house.
And they never had to leave it again.
One dark night, two friends met in a graveyard.
Gertrude?
Hilda, where are you going?
I'm going over to that field to steal me a nice fat sheep. What are you doing here?
I'm digging up the nuts that are buried under my dear mother's head.
What kind are they?
Walnuts, that's my favorite nut. I'll tell you what, you share that sheep with me, and I'll share my walnuts with you, and we can have a feast.
All right, it's a deal.
So the woman began digging up the walnuts buried under her dear mother's head. Finding them, she crossed the steps of the church to eat them.
It was the custom of the sexton to pass through the churchyard on his way to ring the midnight bell.
Parson! 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 Parson!
Why me, I ask? At this time. Oh, Lord. Here's your parson.
There's a monster in the graveyard! Chewing on the bones of the dead!
Come inside, man!
No, Parson! I must toll the midnight bell!
Yes, yes. You go sound the alarm. I'll pray for you here.
No, Parson! You must come with me!
I cannot come with you. I'm busy trimming wicks, and I have this terrible gout upon me. I can't walk a step.
I'll carry you!
All right.
So the two returned to the churchyard together.
The woman thought it was her friend returning with the sheep. Hey, is he a fat one?
Yes! And you can have him!
Once there was a blacksmith who had a beautiful daughter.
When she grew up, he wanted her married and settled.
If a proper bridegroom comes along, I will give her to him.
One day, a suitor did come, and he seemed to be rich.
And since the blacksmith could find nothing wrong with the man, he promised his daughter to him.
But the maiden did not like him, as a bride should like her bridegroom, nor had she any faith in him. Whenever she thought about him or looked at him, a shudder came over her.
One day he said to her, "You are my betrothed, and yet you've never come to see me."
But I don't even know where your house is.
There, in the depths of the forest.
She made excuses and said she couldn't find the way.
On Sunday, I have many friends coming over to see me, and you must come too. And so that you may be able to find the way, I will strew some ashes to guide you. Sunday, don't forget.
When Sunday came, the maiden was terribly frightened. She didn't know why. She filled a jar with peas and lentils and set out. At the edge of the forest, she found a track of ashes and followed it. But every step or two, she scattered peas and lentils to the right and left. She walked and walked all day until she reached the middle of the forest, where it was almost dark. There, she saw a solitary house that was dark and dismal. She went inside, but there was no one about, and there was dead silence. "Turn back, thou bonny bride, nor in this house of death abide!" The voice came from a bird in a cage, and again it cried, turn back, thou bonny bride, nor in this house of death abide!" She ran from room to room, until at last she reached the cellar, and there she found an old woman with a shaking head. "Does my bridegroom live here?" "Alas, poor child, you do not know where you are. You are in a murderous den. You came here for marriage, but that won't be your marriage. Look here, I have filled this kettle with water, and when they return, they will kill you without mercy, cut you up to pieces, cook you, and then eat you. For they who live in this house are eaters of human flesh. Unless I take pity on you, you are lost." "They're coming! No, not that way! Hide behind the great axe!"
Murderers return! Or you stop my thing!
They gave her 3 glasses of wine to drink. One was red.
One was white. And one was yellow.
And the maiden fell dead.
One of the robbers noticed a gold ring on the girl's little finger, but he could not pull it off.
So he took an axe
And chop it off.
The finger bowed into the air.
And fell into the lap of the bride.
Where is it? Has anyone looked behind the cask?
"No, wait, time to eat. All this fuss over a finger? Look for it tomorrow. It shan't run away."
The old lady's right. Bring the girl.
"My dear, here is your chance to escape. Come with me. Oh, think you have long awaited an opportunity to escape this house of death." All the ashes had been blown away, but the peas and lentils had taken root and shut up, showing them the way in the moonlight. They walked all night, and in the morning, when she reached the mill, she told her father all she had been through.
The next day was the day of the wedding, and the blacksmith had invited all of his friends and relations.
Suddenly, the bridegroom appeared.
And as the guests sit at a table, each was asked to tell some little story.
In turn.
Come, my love. You've been so quiet. Now 'tis your turn to tell us the story.
I will tell you a dream I had. I dreamed I was walking in a wood, and I came to a solitary house that was dark and dismal. A cage hung on the wall, and in it a bird which cried, turn back, thou bonny bride, nor in this house of death abide." This was only a dream, my love. I walked from room to room, but all were dark and dismal. At last, I reached the cellar, and there I found an old woman with a shaking head. "Does my bridegroom live here?" I asked. "Alas, poor child, you are in a murderer's den. Your bridegroom does indeed live here, but he will cut you to pieces, cook you, and then eat you." This was only a dream, my love. Then the old woman hid me behind a cask, and no sooner had she done so than the murderers came back, dragging with them a maiden. They gave her 3 glasses of wine, 1 red, 1 white, and 1 yellow. After drinking them, the maiden fell dead. My love, I was only dreaming this. Then, one of the murderers noticed a gold ring on the girl's little finger. And since he could not pull it off, he took an axe and chopped it off. The finger bounded into the air and fell behind the cask and into my lap. Here is the finger with the ring.
When the bridegroom heard this, he turned pale as ashes and tried to escape.
The gas fell upon him
and executed him on the spot. This is the story of Henny Penny. One day, while Henny Penny was out in the barnyard pecking for corn, all of a sudden, something hit her on the head. "Dear me, the sky is falling. I better go tell the king." So she went along and she went along. And then she met...
Cocky Locky. Hey there, Henny Penny. Where are you going?
I'm going to tell the king the sky is falling.
Can I go with you?
Why, certainly. So they went along and they went along. And then they met...
Ducky Daddles! Hi, Henny Penny and Cocky Locky. Where are you going?
We're going
to tell the king the sky is falling.
Okay. Can I go with you?
Why, certainly.
So they went along and they went along. And then they met...
Goosey Poosey! Hi, Henny Penny, Cocky Locky, and Ducky Daddles. Where are you going?
We're going to tell the king the sky is falling.
Can I go with you?
Why, certainly. So they went along and they went along. And then they met... Turkey Lurkey! Hey there, Henny Penny, Cocky Locky, Ducky Daddles, and Goosey Poosey. Where are you going? We're going to tell the king the sky is falling. Can I go too? Why, certainly. So they went along and they went along. And then they were... So they went along and they went along. And then they met...
Foxy Woxy! Hey there, Henny Penny, Cocky Locky, Ducky Daddles, Goosey Poosey, and Turkey Lurkey. Where are all y'all birds going?
We're going to tell the king the sky is falling.
The sky. Oh, I noticed that myself. The sky. Well, you're going the wrong way. If you don't want to know the right way to the king, why don't all y'all birds just get together and follow me?
Why, certainly.
Here's the way to the king. But there's just that little hole that you have to go through. There's only room for one at a time through that little hole. So I'll lead each one of you through that little hole. Who wants to be first? Excuse me, son. I think I have a volunteer. You little butterball. Alright, who's next to tell the secret? Charming little tale, my dear. Alright, who's next? Who wants to be next? Who's next? Come on, let's go.
Dear me, it must be time to go lay my eggs. And she never did tell the king the sky was falling.
One day, an old man
and his wife were sitting in front of their miserable house, resting a while from their work, when suddenly a splendid carriage, pulled by 6 black horses, came driving up,
and a richly dressed woman descended.
What do you want?
I want nothing but to enjoy a simple peasant meal. Cook for me some potatoes in the way you always have them, and I will sit and dine with you.
You are a countess, or a princess, or perhaps even a duchess. But fine ladies like yourself often have such fancies. You shall have your wish.
and so the old woman went inside to prepare the meal.
And the old man led her into the garden, where he began to tie young trees to stakes he had driven into the ground.
The old man took a young tree, put it in a hole, covered it with dirt, drove in a post beside it, and then tied the little tree to the post by ropes of straw.
Have you no children who could help you with your work?
No. 'Tis true, I had a daughter once, sharp, knowing, full of bad tricks. But she ran off. I have not heard of her since.
And what of this twisted old tree here? Why don't you tie it to a stake so that it can grow up straight like the others?
You speak according to your knowledge, but it's easy for me to see you know nothing of gardening. It's too late for that old tree. You have to start with the young.
Perhaps that's how it was with your daughter. If you had trained her well while she was young, perhaps she wouldn't have run away.
I don't know. Perhaps.
Would you know her if you were to see her again?
No, not by her face.
Well, how then?
She had a mark about her.
A mark? What sort of mark?
A birthmark.
Where was it?
On her neck.
What did it look like?
In the shape of a bean.
A bean?
That's it! You're my daughter? How could you be my daughter to live in such luxury? What have you done to contrive this?
I've become a thief. But I'm no common criminal. I'm a master thief. I steal only from the rich.
A thief is still a thief. When your godfather, the Count, hears of this, up in his castle, he will not hold you so dearly as he did when he first baptized you. He will hang you from the nearest halter.
Be easy, Father. I've learned my trade well. I'm going to see him this evening.
The old man led her to see her mother.
When she found out she was her daughter, she wept for joy.
But when she told her that she had become a thief,
a second stream flowed down her face. Still, she is my daughter, and my eyes have beheld her once more. So they went inside to fetch the wretched food which she had not eaten in so long.
later that night, the master thief made her way to the courtyard of the Count.
The Count received her civilly, for he took her to be a distinguished person.
But when the stranger revealed herself,
the Count turned pale and was silent for a time. You are my goddaughter, and therefore mercy shall take the place of justice. But since you pride yourself on being a thief, I will put your art to the proof. And if you do not stand the test, you must marry the rope maker's daughter, and the croaking of the raven will be your music on the occasion.
Lord Count, think of 3 tasks.
as difficult as you like, and if I do not perform them all, do with me what you will.
You must steal from out of the stable the horse I keep for my own riding. You shall also steal the sheet from beneath the bodies of my wife and myself while we are asleep without our observing it, as well as the wedding ring of my wife. And finally, you shall steal from out of the church the parson and the clerk. Mark what I am saying, for your life depends on it.
That night, the master thief put on the garments of an old woman. Onto her face, she painted the wrinkles of age. Into a bottle of old Hungarian wine, she mixed a powerful sleeping potion, and taking the bottle in her arms, with slow and tottering steps, she made her way to the Count's stable.
In the stable, 3 soldiers guarded the horse.
Oh! Who goes there? This is my old woman. What have you got in your bottle, old mother?
A bottle of fine wine.
Well, let's have some.
I live by trade. For money and kind words, I'm quite ready to let you have a glass.
Here's some money.
You do.
I'm afraid what I call video for, I'm pretty sure it's a long-awaited kiss.
A double portion for you, my son. What duties do you perform for our lord, the Count?
We guard the Count's horse. One held the bridle.
Another held the tail.
And the third sat on the horse's back.
And they all
Fell asleep.
The master thief took a piece of rope and placed it in the hand of the man holding the bridle. A wisp of straw went into the hand of the man holding the tail. But what of the man on top of the horse?
Then she had a good idea. She unloosed the girths of the saddle, tied a few ropes which hung from the wall to the sleeping rider, and drew him up into the air. Then she tied off the rope to a nearby post and unloosed the horse.
And silently led it out of the courtyard.
The next morning, the Count entered his courtyard. The horse! Where's the horse?
Give it out here!
Ready! Lower!
The master thief entered the courtyard leading the Count's horse.
Neatly done, I must say, but I trust things will not go so well for you the next time. Remember, the sheet and the ring, and I warn that if you come before me as a thief, I will handle you as I would a thief.
The soldiers left the stables muttering.
The next night, the master thief made her way to the gallows. There, she cut down the body of a poor sinner who was hanging from a noose, and taking the body on her back, with slow steps, she made her way to the Count's castle. She set up a ladder against the Count's bedroom window, and with the corpse in front of her, began to climb.
Inside the castle, the Countess was preparing for bed. She clasped the hand with the wedding ring tightly together. Husband, do you think the thief will come?
Yes, but when she comes in through this window, I will shoot her.
The master thief lifted the corpse higher and higher until the head showed out the window.
The Count, who was watching from his bed, quickly fired at her. I have shot the thief!
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure. She's lying there dead. I must go down and bury her.
No, husband, please send the guards. I'm afraid to stay alone.
Stay here and remain calm, my dear.
You always say that.
The Count went into the garden.
And the master thief entered the dimly lit room, disguised as the Count himself.
Husband?
Remain calm, my dear.
What of the thief?
I have shot my own goddaughter.
Don't feel sad, dear.
I feel better now, but I must give her a proper burial. Give me that sheet so that I might wind her body in it.
You mustn't reproach yourself.
I do not.
The Countess removed the sheet from the bed, and she and the master thief folded it together.
Ah, wife, I have a fit of magnanimity upon me. The thief so much wanted that ring. Give it to me, so that I might bury it with her body.
She would not disobey her husband, so unwillingly she drew the ring from her finger and gave it to him.
The thief made off with both these items. The Count soon returned. Dear wife!
What?
The sheet! Where is the sheet? Are you a wizard? Who has snatched you from the grave from which I myself have laid you? It is not over yet. You still have a third task to perform. Remember, the parson and the clerk. And if you do not succeed in that, then all is of no use.
You did well.
The next night, the master thief made her way to the churchyard. With her, she carried a large sack, from which she withdrew several large land crabs. On the backs of these curious creatures, she had melted pieces of wax candle. Lighting each one, she allowed them to scurry about in and among the gravestones. As the clock in the tower struck 12, she entered the church and climbed the steps of the pulpit. Hearken, hearken! The end of all things is nigh! Judgment is come! Hearken!
Parson and the clerk were persecuted.
I am Saint Peter, he who opens and shuts the gates of heaven. Look out into the graveyard. See the souls of the departed, how they wander to and fro in search of their bones.
Something very strange is going on in the churchyard.
If you want to join me this day in paradise, come, climb into this sack.
Parson, I think we should take advantage of this incredible opportunity.
Come, climb into this sack. The master thief closed up the mouth of the sack and dragged them through the graveyard.
Why is it so bumpy?
We are going over mountains.
Why is it so wet?
We are going through rain clouds.
Why do I feel so sick?
Because you're a sinner. And finally, into the pigeon coop of the Count.
The Count, hearing a ruckus in his pigeon coop, went to investigate.
Oh, your grace, you made it too!
Get back here. You are an arch thief, and you have won your wager. You have escaped with a whole skin. But see to it that you leave my land at once, for if you ever set foot on it again, you can count on your elevation to the gallows.
So the master thief took leave of that land. And went out into the wide, wide world.
According to Aesop, a man once had a cat which he loved very much.
Seeing this, Venus, the goddess of love, changed the cat into a beautiful woman.
took her to his bedchamber.
A toy came into the mind of Venus, and she set loose in the bedchamber a tiny gray mouse.
Oh, I'll get it.
That's all right, darling. I'll get it.
Oh, good, you got it. Just toss it out the window. Just toss the old mouse out the window.
Seeing this, Venus changed the woman back into a cat.
There once was a fisherman who lived with his wife in a run-down shack by the sea. Every day he'd go fishing in the briny deep. One day he was sitting without having sleep. Felt a big one tugging on his line.
Listen, fisherman, I'm no ordinary flounder. I'm an enchanted prince. Throw me back into the water. I shan't be good to eat.
That's all right. I throw back all fish that talk.
Husband,
What?
have you caught anything today?
No. All I caught was one flounder. But I threw him back because he said he was an enchanted prince.
Did you not wish for anything?
No. What was there to wish for?
Isn't it bad enough that we have to live in this wretched, filthy hovel? You might at least have wished for a nice, clean cottage. He will certainly grant you that.
No, wife. What am I to go back there for?
Well, it was you who caught him and let him go again. He will do that much for you.
All right. I'll go as a flounder.
The man was still not very willing to go, but he did not want to vex his wife. And at last he went to the sea. He found the sea no longer bright and shining, but dull and green.
Flounder, flounder, in the sea, prithee hearken unto me. Beelzebub, my willful wife, does not want my way of life.
Hello, fisherman.
Hello, flounder. I had to call you back for my wife said since I was the one who caught you, I should have wished for something.
Of course. What would she have?
She wants a nice, clean cottage.
Go home. She has her wish fully.
And found his wife no longer in their little old hut, but a pretty little cottage stood in its place.
Husband, come inside. Come in with me. There was a pretty sitting room and a bedroom
With a brass bed.
and a kitchen.
With a lot of food.
Outside, there were chickens and ducks and geese and a big fat rabbit.
And a little vegetable garden with fruit trees.
Is this not nice?
Yes. We shall live in this little cottage and be very happy.
We shall see about that.
With that, they ate something.
And went to bed. Husband, wake up. This cottage is too cramped. Go to the flounder and tell him I've changed my mind. I want to live in a big stone castle.
You
Go to the flounder and tell him to give us a castle.
want a big stone castle? All right, I'll go.
The man went, but his heart was heavy. He said to himself,
It's not right.
when he reached the open sea, he found it no longer green. It was still calm, but dark violet and gray. Strong wind was coming up.
Flounder, flounder, in the sea, prithee hearken unto me. Beelzebub, my willful wife,
does not want my way of life.
Hello, fisherman.
Hello, Flounder. The cottage was lovely.
You're welcome.
No, wait. My wife has changed her mind. She wants a big stone castle.
Go home. She's waiting at the gates of it.
The man went away, thinking that he would find no house. When he got back, he found a great stone palace and his wife waiting at the top of the steps to go in.
Husband, come in with me.
The walls were hung with beautiful tapestries.
Rich carpets covered the floors.
The rooms were furnished with golden chairs and tables.
Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceilings.
The tables groaned under every delicate food and the most costly wines.
Outside the house was a courtyard half a mile wide. And beyond that, a forest and park with
stags, hinds, and hares.
And anything one could wish for. Now, is this not worth having?
Yes, you and I shall live in this beautiful palace and be content.
We shall think about that.
And with that, they went to bed.
Husband, peep out of that window. Wouldn't you like to be king over all that land? Go to the Flounder and tell him you consent to be king.
No, I don't want to be king.
What?
No, wife. Why would I want to be king?
All right, that's all right. It's all right. I'll be the king.
So the fisherman went, but he was quite sad because his wife would be the king. When he reached the sea, he found it dark, rough, red, and evil smelling. A storm was brewing.
Flounder, flounder, in the sea, prithee hearken unto me. Ilsebil, my wilful wife, does not want my way of life.
What now, fisherman?
She wants to be king.
She is the king.
The man went back and found his wife, king, waiting for him.
Wife, are you now king?
Yes, now I am the king.
What a wondrous thing it is to be the king.
No, husband, it is not. I find that being king makes time weigh heavy on my hands. I can't bear it. I am the king, but it's not enough. I must be both.
I think this is truly beyond the flounder.
Nonsense. If he can make a king, he can make a pope.
There's only one pope in all of Christendom. I'm not going to ask that fish to make you the pope.
Do you forget to whom you are speaking? I am the king. You are but my husband. You must obey.
So he went, but he was quite frightened and dazed. He shivered and shook, and his knees trembled. A great wind arose over the land. The clouds flew across the sky, and it grew as dark as night. The leaves fell from the trees, and the water foamed and dashed upon the shore. In the distance, the ships were being tossed to and fro on the waves. There was still a little patch of blue in the sky among the dark clouds. But towards the south, they were red and heavy as in a bad storm.
Flounder, flounder, in the sea, prithee hearken unto me. Ilsebil, my wilful wife, does not want my way of life.
Now what, fisherman?
My wife wants to be pope.
Say that again.
My wife wants to be the pope.
Go home. Your wife is now your pope.
The man went home and found that his wife had become the pope.
Are you now pope?
Yes, now we are the pope.
I pray you now content yourself to be the pope. Hinder, you cannot go.
We shall think about that.
And with that, they went to bed.
As the dawn reddened the sky and the sun began to rise, she looked out of the window and began to cry.
Why cannot I cause the sun and moon to rise? Why? Husband, wake up! Go to the flounder and tell him I will be Lord of the universe.
What?
Wake up! If I cannot cause the sun and moon to rise and set, I shall not be able to bear it.
The flounder cannot do that. Remain the Pope. You make a nice Pope.
Then she flew into a terrible rage. She kicked him and screamed.
I shall not be able to bear it!
Then he tore away like a madman. Such a storm was raging that he could hardly keep on his feet. Houses and trees quivered and swayed. The mountains trembled and the rocks rolled into the sea. The sky was pitchy black. It lightened and thundered, and the sea ran in soft waves, mountains high, crested with white foam. He shrieked out, but could hardly make himself heard.
Flounder! Flounder! In the sea! Prithee hearken unto me! Ilseville, my wilful wife, does not want my way of life.
Now what does she want?
She wants to be Lord of the universe.
No, fisherman, this time cannot be. Now you must go back to your hovel by the sea.
There once was a fisherman who lived with his wife in a run-down shack by the sea. Every day he'd go fishing in the briny deep. And he'd sit there and he'd fish. And he'd fish. And he'd fish.
There was once a crow who found a mussel on the beach, but he could not, for the life of him, open the shell to get at the fish.
A brother crow singer said, "Caw, you're doing it all wrong." Oh, yes. If I were you, I'd take it up about 10,000 feet and drop it here on these rocks. Higher! 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 Got it! It worked! No! No!
Once there was a widow who had 3 sons.
The youngest of whom was called Simpleton.
He was scorned and despised by others.
And always kept off in the background. Go on, get in the background.
One day, the eldest son went into the forest to chop wood.
But before he left, his mother gave him some nice sweet cakes and a bottle of wine, so he would not suffer from hunger or thirst on his way.
Oh, Ma. Suddenly, a little gray man appeared.
Good afternoon, kind young sir. I wonder if you might not have a piece of cake
And a drop of wine to share with a hungry and thirsty old man.
If I give you any of my cake and my wine, I shan't have enough for myself. So be off with you.
The little gray man left, waving his hand at the sun as he did so. The sun had not been working long, cutting down a tree, when he made a false stroke and cut his own arm.
My arm! My arm!
This was no accident. It was caused by the little gray man.
So it was the second son's chance to go into the forest to cut wood.
But before he left, his mother gave him some nice sweet cakes and a bottle of wine, so he would not suffer from hunger and thirst on his way.
But there was a little gray man.
Good afternoon, kind young sir. I wonder if you might not have a piece of cake and a drop of wine to share with a hungry and thirsty old man.
I have some cake and I have some wine, but I'm not going to share them with the hungry and thirsty old man. So be off.
The little gray man left, but the second son's punishment was not long delayed. After only a few strokes at a tree, he cut his own leg.
Guess who?
Brother! Then it was Simpleton's chance to go into the forest to chop down trees.
Simpleton, you know nothing about it. You only get yourself hurt.
But you never let me go outside even.
Simpleton begged so hard to be let to go out that his brothers finally consented. Shall we let him go outside?
Go ahead, and when you get hurt, you'll be all the wiser for it.
Thank you, brothers, thank you.
But before he left, his mother gave him a cake, which was mixed with water and baked in the ashes, and a bottle of sour beer. Simpleton, please be careful.
Don't forget your axe. Simpleton went into the forest, and, like the others, he met the little gray man.
Good afternoon, kind young sir.
Hello.
I wonder if you might not have a piece of cake and a drop of wine to share with a hungry and thirsty old man.
I'm afraid all I have is a cake mixed with water and baked in the ashes and a bottle of sour beer. But if you like such fare, I'd be happy to share it with you.
The two sat down, but when Simpleton pulled out his cake, it was a nice sweet cake, and his sour beer had been turned into good wine. So they ate and drank.
You have shared your simple meal with me, so I will bring you luck. Over yonder in that forest there stands an old tree. Cut it down. You will find something at its roots. So say the little gray man disappeared.
Simpleton went to the forest to look for the tree, but had to return where he had eaten because he forgot to ask. He returned to the forest and found the old tree. Telling the bird what he was planning to do,
I'm going to cut down this tree.
He convinced them to leave the tree.
Fly away, birds.
Then he cut down the tree.
A goose with golden feathers. So the two went to an inn where they planned to spend the night. All right, little goose, time to go to sleep. Lie down.
Finally, Simpleton pulled the legs out from under the goose, and he himself went to sleep.
The innkeeper had 2 daughters, and when they saw a golden goose, they were curious as to what type of bird it might be and wanted to get one of its golden feathers. This is my opportunity to get a feather. I am the eldest. But as she reached to pluck a feather, she found that her hand was stuck fast. Her ass is stuck. I wanted to get one too. No, stay away. This is some kind of strange bird. Don't be so selfish. One shouldn't have one if you have one. But as soon as she touched her sister, she found out her head was stuck fast too. And in this manner, they had to spend the night.
In the morning, Simpleton picked up the goose without even noticing the 2 girls stuck on by it. He set out into the forest.
In the field they met the parson.
Shame on you. Shame on you two young girls for chasing after that young man like that. Come away. Come away immediately. If you don't come away, now I'll have to pull you away.
The parson grabbed the younger sister to pull her away, but as soon as she touched her, he found that he was stuck fast and had to run along behind them.
And as they passed the church, the sexton said, "Why, hello, your reverence. Where are you going so fast? Don't forget we have a christening today."
So saying, he plucked the parson by the sleeve and found that he could not pull away.
A simple peasant came along the road. Give us a hand, simple peasant.
He tried to help him, but as soon as he touched him, he could not pull away. Now, there were 5 people running behind Simpleton and his goose. By and by, they came to a town where ruled a king whose only daughter was so solemn
That nothing and nobody could make her laugh.
So the king proclaimed that whoever could make his daughter laugh should marry her. As soon as Simpleton heard this, he took his goose and bolted followed before her. When she saw the 5 people running one after the other, she burst into fits of laughter, and it seemed as though she could never stop. You have made my daughter laugh. I now pronounce you man and wife. I'll take the goose. You won't need it on your honeymoon. The king took the goose and left them to their honeymoon.
Only fools